Under starters' orders, a couple of them just being a little fractious. And they're racing, and Water Weekend brought sharply on the inside. But it's a straight line going towards the 5 marker. And it's Northern Lady who is the leader. Northern Leader leads from Leah. On the outside, Alma May between horses is pace. There's a break of about 4 lengths before we get to Early Riser. And Water Weekend is the trailer. As they're round the far turn, head up the hill with just over 3 furlongs to go. And it is on the outside, Alma Bay who leads. On the outside, Pace is second. Northern Lady is third. Leah, the favorite, races right behind that one. Then there's a break of 2 lengths to Early Riser, and Water Weekend is the trailer. Inside the quarter pole they come. The quarter opened up in 24-3. And there are no more turns. And Pace is in command. I'm going out in the middle of the track. On the inside, there's Alma Bay between horses. Leah, Early Riser. On the outside, just coming on a run. But it's Pace on the outside. On the inside, Alma Bay. Pace and Alma Bay. Pace opening up to win by a cheeky length and a half. Tight second between Alma Bay and Leah. Early Riser rounds out the top 4. The last one home was Water Weekend. And the finish time they have listed is 1:13:04. Any more recap for you?
And we'll meet the winning connections. And the connections just giving a congratulatory pat on the shoulders. And just wait for the leading in process. But no doubt about the winner. Horse number 6, Pace. And he showed good speed just to track the pace of his stablemate in Northern Lady and Alma Bay when they went by. Bided his time and picked it up when they're just about to turn into the home stretch and showed enough pace to get home. So here comes the winner. This is horse number 6, Pace, being led in by Eustace Joseph, former rider, and his special invited guest. So here comes the winner, horse number 6, Pace. A 3-year-old bay filly by Show Me the Money out of Positive. Owned and trained by Kenny Joseph. And ridden to victory by Ray Williams, who has now worked himself into a brace on the card. And he joins Deshaun Hazelwood with a brace. The winning groom is Kenny Joseph, so he doubles and triples as everything: owner, trainer, groom, and breeder. Second was horse number 8, Alma Bay. Excellent run. A 3-year-old brown filly by Almador out of Slipstream. Owned by Pamela and Never Is There. Trained by Andrew Nunez. Ridden by Anthony Perch, taking on 118 pounds. Third place went to horse number 3, Leah. A 3-year-old bay filly by Derby Kitten out of Soca Diva. She was seeking a double, that was not to be. Owned by Roundtable Stud Farm. Trained by Robert Pierce. Ridden by Tishon Hazelwood. 1-1-5. And in 4th was horse number 2, Early Riser, a 3-year-old Roan Colt by John Bryan out of Iron Lady, owned by Saddleweed Farms, trained by Victor Cheeseman, and ridden by Ricky Walker, took on 116 pounds. 6, 8, 3, and 2, and a final time of 1:07 flat. We're getting closer to the afternoon's feature race. And up next will be race number 6 on the card, the Junior Kadooment, a lot of race for West Indian bred 3-year-old.
Most famously known as brother of Robin Bynum, who played for West Indies cricket team when it was a winning team. Also brother of Christopher David Bynum, former chairman of the Barbados Shipping and Trading, big owner, director of the Turf Club, steward, you name it, and many others. He was born the 15th of July, 1943. Am I right, Stephen? Stephen was around for a long, long time. Back in his heyday, he married his lovely wife, Mary Goddard. Her father was Sir John Goddard, or was. He was John Goddard, who was Barbados captain, and also a winning West Indies captain, something that we really can't say these days. Stephen's family that he married into, because David, the first horse, I don't believe ran too well. Not well at all. Stephen had to learn the hard way. In 1968, his wife had a horse called Nanisa, which raced in her name, but was trained by her father. They didn't let Stephen get in that. He had to learn about marble cricket and schoolboy cricket before he could get into the local team. But then along came 1976, after Stephen had done a lot of batting and bowling and playing behind his slips and going through all of it. And Stephen's name went down as trainer, as he was a trainer for his first horse ever listed under his name. Well, after that race, they told Stephen, go straight to Westbury Cemetery, because the only people that start at the top is grave diggers. Stephen trained Miss Judes for the Atkinson brothers, and you know what? He won. He won the first race he ever was listed as a trainer. He won. 200, it was a Barbados Derby. Many years later, he had a horse called Ban Ruler. Ban Ruler was Reserve 1 in the Guineas, April 15th, 2004, I think it was. Ban Ruler got in the race at the last minute, belonged to David, Stephen, and Robin, and Stephen Walcott. Out of a mare that belonged to his David's son Martin, and I at one point in time bowled his brass. And it won at 22-1. It upset the whole garrison. I don't think they could get enough whiskey and rum and whatnot to celebrate. Ban Ruler was his name. He was a fantastic horse, bowler's brass. Not for much longer. But hold on, Steve been around a long time, you know. I got a whole lot of things here. But Stephen's also, other claim to fame other than Marion Mary, was he had a horse called Crimson Glory. She was the first horse in Barbados and possibly the Caribbean to earn $100,000 in prize money. Am I right, Stephen? She was the first in Barbados to earn $100,000. And Stephen and Mary, they lived at the Wildy Stud, where they still live now. It's not really, it's still a stud, but more of a human stud these days. No longer horses, often they're getting bred these days. In the 70s, he was privileged enough to look after a horse called Blueprint. Blueprint was one of the top horses you would ever hear of in the Caribbean. You have Secretariat in America, you got Frankel in Europe, and you got Blueprint down here in the Caribbean. Steve was also responsible for bringing in a lot of the English jockeys who came in more for the social. Oh, look, here come the fellas. Here comes Rashid Hughes, Ray Williams, Grant Mice, Robert Pierce. Stephen also had horses like Heidi Lively, but he brought in Philip Waldron, Tony Kimberley, amongst others. And then he had the big ones. Stephen got together a syndicate called Mr. 10 or More. And I'm going to close off on this one because at 218 wins, he's done fantastic. Stephen had a horse called Bull Mover. He went to the Gold Cup as the favourite, ridden by the champion jockey in the Caribbean, Venice Pappy Richards. Steve was so confident, his enthusiasm bubbled over. Venice Richards was so confident as well. Stephen allegedly got his wife Mary to type up the instructions. It took 2 foolscap pages, which was presented to Venice on the Thursday morning after declarations. Well, let me tell you, folks, for those of you who are here that can remember that Gold Cup, they went to the start, Bull Mover, a picture. The gates were locked. The gates flew. Bull Mover took off like a scald cat. Venice Richards had absolutely no say in the matter. Unfortunately, Bull Mover ran about 8.5 out the 9 furlongs. And at that point, Steve said, well, he didn't follow instructions. Stephen, I'm not going to give you any more trouble. You had plenty horses, plenty good things. You've been a stalwart around the garrison on a morning. we're really sorry. We could have raised some money for him, you know, he's always crying poor. Always crying poor, but yet he could still pick up the phone and call the head of Barclays Bank and they would answer. Stephen, on behalf of all of us here around the Barbados Turf Club, to do with horse racing, to do with anything around here, you are a privilege to have known. I don't think that's the right word but it works. And still known, and they give us a lot of sport. Especially when you used to use the binoculars with the fingers. And when you start to focus, we say, Steve boy, it's time to go down Black Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause for our birthday boy, 80 years old, Stephen Bino. Being presented by the president of the Barbados Turf Club, Mr. Stephen John Walcott. Stephen. It's not regular we get them living till this kind of age, so we gotta celebrate it. Right, Kenny, we have a little prize here for a presentation from Kenny John, who has taken over a part of the mantle. That's Ban Ruler winning the Guineas. Hey, y'all giving him money? Cause you know things are a little tight, you know. We're going to ask Steve to say a few words. Listen, when Steve, who was a fantastic cricketer, when he used to play at Wanderers, they said he would run one, 2 scarcely, 3 rarely, and 4 not at all. Stephen?
Thank you all very, very much. I just can't believe. I realized that something was up because my 2 brothers just came down here. My son sometimes doesn't come to races with me. He turned up, and I had a feeling something was going on. Anyhow, to be quite clear and fair, I'm a little bit humbled, to be quite honest, at this very, very kind gesture. I never expected it. I've had a very, very productive time around horse racing. I started here somewhere in the late 50s, I think it was, late 50s. So I've gone through all of that. We had great years in Trinidad. First year, I think I went down with my brother David. It was in 61. And we went through every year at the Christmas meeting, which was tremendous racing in those days. And we went through for 17 straight years. And we carried all of our best horses down there, and we really have had a tremendous time overall. I would just wrap off by finishing off by saying that it's really, I am really humbled by this gesture. Thank you all very, very much. I've had a great time with horse racing, and I intend to continue for a good few more years. I'm not sure how long, but I certainly will be continuing for a good few years yet. Thank you very, very much for your time.
You're more than welcome, Stephen. And ladies and gentlemen, in race number 8, he has a horse called Storm Force. So go give all of your extra money to the Barbados Turf Club.